Well,
hey everyone.
Hello. And we had new titles as well, which has got Josh's name on.
But they were pretty quiet. There was no music.
There was.
Was there?
No,
there was music.
yeah, it's muted for us.
Yeah. I the only person who could hear it was me. And I was like, yeah, it's got music. Boogie boogie. Hi, Eric.
What's up, Eric?
Everybody will be watching this, and it'll be cool. I've managed to get it onto the pages wall. I think it needs to be shared onto the groups wall.
I'll put it onto ours.
Nice. Well, the group or the page?
The group.
Thank you. In that case, that should be all right. Let me just go to our page, and I'll see if we are on
Yes.
there.
Yeah, it's on there.
Look at that. Jesus, it's working. That's the only way we can go around it for 60 days. But after 60 days, it'll be grand. Right.
Cool.
Now, for everybody who's out there, this is our first one on this streaming platform. And hi, Rita.
Hey, Rita.
For the first time, we're trying to do it this way around and see what happens, because this is got a lot of other things that we can use on it that you can't on the other one. So it might be a lot better. So we want.
And it's cheaper.
It is cheaper. It is a lot cheaper.
Got to rub salt in the wounds for them.
just for anybody.
However, if you complain to StreamYard and go, "Oh, it's gone, we're leaving, it's too expensive," they go, "Well, how's about this for an offer?"
Fair enough. We'll see what this does for now. What was I going to say? What were we talking about anyway? Just before the camera changed, just before we went live. We were talking about out of place artifacts and civilizations before us.
Yes.
Yes. What we were trying to say was about all these things that have been before us and civilizations. And Wayne was saying that he was watching a documentary where some guy reckons he's solved 43 of the 45 riddle clues from Pliny the Elder's description of where Atlantis is. And I was just saying how it seems to flip flop from locations all around the world as to where they found it. But if you line it up with all the other things that have been found, like the Antarctic structures that have been found and all the other things that have been found, it just points to all these mega structures. So anyway, we were talking about where they could be. Well, we were. I have no idea what's going on.
Hey, who's rumbling?
So I've got an intruder in the show. Oh, there you go.
There you go. Right. Fair enough. So yeah, where do you reckon Atlantis is, or one of the Atlantean cities?
After watching the documentary, I would probably say that there is probably more evidence to say it's off the coast of Cyprus.
Wasn't off the coast of Cyprus, if my memory serves me right. I'm sure it was Cyprus, where the Minoans culture was found. And the only reason that they knew there was another culture there, the Minoans, was because of the vases and things that were found. And they worshipped the bull, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because
well, I mean that one, the guy the guy that claims to have solved the clues said there's something like 45 registered clues as to where Atlantis is, and he's managed to solve 43 of the 45, which has given him the location just off of Paphos on the western side of Cyprus.
Right.
And he was paid by the Cypriot Tourist Board, or the Cypriot Tourist Governing Body, I should say. Yeah. And he's done 2 expeditions. And on the first one, they found a raised area that was as flat as a pancake. Completely flat, but there were buildings on it, or the remnants of buildings.
Yeah.
And he claims there was a statue of Aphrodite there.
Mrs. there, what are they doing with one of them?
So, I mean, if you were to look at all the other places that are mentioned as possible places for Atlantis, They haven't had as many of the clues answered as what this one has. So the finger would point more at the Cyprus one than any other location in the world.
Because it's like I was saying to you guys, that they were all getting hard-ons for the Rishat structure, weren't they? And saying it was there. But I don't see why when you look at the old testimonies and everything, they all say that there was these megacities were all linked, and it wasn't just a few; it was quite a few. So could that one not be another one?
It's
And
possible.
whatever it was that wiped out Atlantis, because it did a great big fuck off tsunami, it could have taken out loads of others with it.
Right. I've found part of the hypothesis of Atlantis.
That's a big word.
There are several hypotheses about the real world events that could have inspired Plato's fictional story of Atlantis. Told in the Timaeus and the Critias, while Plato's story was not part of the Greek mythic tradition, and his dialogues use it solely as an allegory about hubris, researchers have speculated about real natural disasters that could have served as inspiration. Additionally, many works of the pseudo-history and pseudo-archaeology treat the story as fact, offering reinterpretations which tie to national mysticism or theories of ancient aliens. While Plato's story explicitly locates Atlantis in the Atlantic Ocean beyond the Pillars of Hercules, location hypotheses include Halide, Thera, Troy, and the North Pole. Most theories of the placement of Atlantis center on the Mediterranean, influenced largely by the geographical location of Egypt, from which the story allegedly derived. Island of Pharos. Robert Graves, in his Greek Myths, argues Atlantis was the island of Pharos off the western coast of the Nile Delta. That is before Alexander the Great connected the island to mainland Egypt by building a causeway. The story of Atlantis has been argued to preserve a cultural memory of the Thera eruption, which destroyed the town of Akrotiri and affected some Minoan settlements on Crete. In 2006, the History Channel screened the third episode of their Lost World series, The Arguments for Akrotiri being Atlantis.
Well, it was Pliny. It was the one I'm on about is Pliny the Younger. Pliny the Younger was the one who described Atlantis. And he went on the descriptions of the Egyptians, because the Egyptians knew all about the advanced civilization that used to be around, and they gave him all the details of it. Josh,
yeah, well, that's what it says. Derived the story of Atlantis derived from Egypt.
Yeah.
I think they knew all about it, and I think that's pyramids. I think pyramids had a lot to do with it as well.
I think they knew about it, but not in the sense like that they were there. I think more of like your high priests and stuff, that their version of what we have as remote viewers knew about it.
Yeah, it was word of mouth, but it's apparently the first, not first. What do you call it? The first epoch of the Egyptians. Their gods were the same as the Atlantean gods, and it was only when the epoch changed that they started worshipping all these different ones. So it was in one of their books, and I can't remember which damn book it was, but it's written in their book about Thoth. So I don't know how you pronounce it. Thoth. It was written in his thing. Yeah, and the Egyptians knew all about it, and it's in one of their books, and it's got the writings of Thoth in it. Thoth.
Well, Thoth appears in a lot of different cultures under different names. Kind of like in the Greek, he's Hermes. I'd even say in the Norse, he's probably Balder.
Yeah, I reckon. Well, it's like I've said before. I strongly suspect that the all the Parthenons of the gods, because you've got to remember all the religious books are done pretty much at the same time. So all these gods were around in all the religions at the same and in the same timeline. I reckon that these gods were advanced beings to us, Hey, Noreen. And I reckon they were vastly technologically advanced. They were bigger. They were mentally bigger, physically bigger, and all their technology was just awesome. But because back then, look, we were just barely knuckling by. And no, in fact, no, back then when they originally came here, we were pooping in our hands and clapping and attacking each other. When you look into the legends, they took their DNA, put it into the native hominids, and created us. So we would have gone, oh my God, they're gods, wow, and worship them as gods. So what do you make of it? I still think things like the Bimini Road and the other place off of Japan, with those giant roads and giant steps that are cut into rocks and things, they're from nobody's got any explanation as to what they were or what they are. They're from before us. And you like the Black Pyramid in Bermuda, is it Bermuda? Yeah, Bermuda. And you've got the remains of a city that's down near there as well.
Wasn't there a place off of I think it was the coast of Australia where all the they were like rock columns, and they had strange electromagnetic presence in them.
That's right.
And they can't figure out how they managed to get them in that specific formation because of the age of the rock. The joins of the rock.
They think it was part of a bridge, a land bridge.
Yeah, and it's been stacked in such a way, but they said that they can't be there because any sort of intelligent society wasn't there in that time. But there was only the Aborigines in that area in that time.
But the Aborigines, there's been Caucasian skeletons found by the Aborigines and by the Australian government. That was something like 20,000 years before the Aborigines were over there. There's a land bridge, and you had, like we were talking about, you had the continents of Mu and Lemuria, and there was another one as well, I can't remember it, but that was all around at the same time.
And the Aborigines also painted spacemen.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And the Dogon tribe, or Dogon tribe, Dogon it! The Dogon tribe in Africa, no writing, nothing written down, but it's all oral. It's all verbally passed down through the tribes via oral. And they can tell you exactly where the Pleiadian star system is, what it looks like, how to get there, and which one of those stars, the planets near that we originally came from, or our forefathers came from. And it's not just them. There's lots of different tribes. The Native Americans, they know all about it and everything. There were people before us, the Red Giants. And I'm not just talking about my testicles. The Red Giants that existed before us, lots and lots of red hair, and they were 8 to 12 foot tall, maybe bigger. And they had two sets of teeth, and they have an extra finger on each hand. What the fuck happened to me? So, there's so much.
Missing the giant part, though. And the big flowing red locks.
Well, I'm only 5'7" now, I think. I used to be 5'8". I'm only a short ass. I'm not 5'5". Fuck you. Oh, cheeky sod. But when you look at it all, and you look at all the evidence that comes, I get fascinated by this stuff. There were people before us. There really were. Look at the Kandahar giant, the one that the special forces went to go and investigate. One of their teams that were on patrol. The team never came back. These SEAL team, I think it's SEAL Team 6, was sent in to go. I've been asking that the whole time, Mark. Eric. The whole time. Eric, do you need a W in front of that? You said whole time.
Not half the time. Or quarter of the time. It's the whole time.
Yeah.
Whole time. Anyway, the Kandahar giant, the team, the original SEAL team disappeared. They got SEAL Team 6 in to go and investigate, and it's everywhere. You can look it up. And they found the remains of the team before them and other squads that had gone out on patrol and hadn't come back, like native Afghan ones and stuff. And then they were attacked by this bloody 15-foot tall red-headed giant who got a spear and just got one of them, kebabbed him, and they all returned fire and eventually took him down. And then he was taken off via helicopter, and they some of them took photos and this, that, and the other, but then they were dragged off and debriefed and told, you don't speak about this whatsoever. you know. And I think there was two of the members of that were two of the members that went to Antarctica and saw some of the tech there. And again, they were told you don't talk about it, but they've since whistleblown. So there's remnants.
Yeah, there's been a lot of different compartmentalization of different members of the military talking about it. So it does seem like there is something to the story. The size has changed. I've heard 12 to 15. The other thing, which was relatively positive about the situation, it didn't sound like it took much for them to kill him at all. At first, they were all in awe of him, and then they're like, "Oh shit, we have guns," and they blew his jaw off.
Yeah, that's right. And when they looked at the remains of the jaw, they confirmed the 2 rows of teeth. But the thing is, they were saying that because of the amount of bones and remains that have been found, some of them were hundreds of years old. So this thing was either really, really long lived, or there's generations of them. And when you look at the reports, from the local sheep herders and that in that area, they all talk about there being quite a few of them about up in the mountains.
I heard he was armed with a sword and a spear. Well, you said that about the spear too, about him holding up. So he was wearing, which is strange. Who crafted that for it?
Exactly. But there's lots of I catch up on a lot of Spec Ops stories. Ones that if you're ex-military, you'll know what I mean by around the campfire. When they talk about it, and there's been lots, and I've seen some of the night vision evidence of these villages up in the mountains and the foothills in Afghanistan, and you can see the night vision thing of these sheep herders just sat there, and this dirty, great big heat shape comes in, sits down with them, but they measured this heat shape to be between 12 and 15 foot long, and they reckon that they were giving this whatever it was things, and he was just sat with them, chilling with them, talking. They couldn't hear what they were saying, obviously, and then this thing gets up a couple of hours later and wanders off. There's lots of evidence to support it, and I think that all these a lot of the things that are seen and cryptids and stuff are remnants of before we were here.
That is one of the claims of the Dyatlov Pass incident as well.
What? That was one of the giants.
Two of the bodies that were found had massive rib injuries.
That's right.
They said they were just below the collarbone to just above where the rib cage joins at the bottom.
Massive foot, wasn't it?
And right the way across the chest. And that would say that was foot being stomped on the chest.
Yeah.
And they said a criminologist and forensic scientist actually stated that there was no way, if they were caught in an avalanche or had just fallen over, that would not have caused those specific type of injuries. Because when they concluded on the search that there was excess snow in the area, but it wouldn't have been enough to crush somebody's rib cage.
Well, they tried. Sorry, what were you trying to say, Josh?
Oh, we also had that giant case here in America about a year ago. Remember with the TikToker who disappeared and ended up dead?
That's right, yeah. The one who saw the giant videoed it, and then when he went to go and look at it, there was military there saying "bugger off, go around." And then 2 weeks later,
he was gone. Yeah.
Yeah, he put up a video where he was crapping himself, saying there was nothing there. I didn't see anything. There was nothing there, and then gone.
And then a couple of days, nothing. Missing person.
But also, when you look at that, and you look at not Mount Rushmore. What was that mountain where all the spooky stuff's supposed to go on?
Shasta.
That's it. Mount Shasta. There's again, this is all alleged, and remember everything that we talk about on here, guys. Most of it is stuff that we've researched and looked into. It's not our own thing. I've never been to a UFO base. I've never been on board a UFO. Wayne, possibly. Josh, definitely, but I haven't.
He says that, Buzz, but I don't know.
But Mount Shasta apparently underneath has got. They're doing. They're mixing DNA. There's reports of. You know what I'm on about, Josh. Have you seen the things where they talk about there's tanks where they've been injecting humans who've volunteered with hybridization stuff, and it's turning them into weird and wonderful things and big and tall and alien hybrids.
There's like a base. There's like a base of that happening.
Apparently, underneath Mount Shasta. Yeah.
I don't know. I know that there's a lot of native lore with it. I know they thought it was a giant tree that a bear ripped down.
Have you seen that on Facebook, the YouTube video of that? I think it's a drone that's going above, and all of a sudden this tree just starts going like that, and then you can see like a line of trees where something's walking along. Do you know what I mean? It's just knocking down the trees. You know,
what?
I'll
read the comments.
My other half turned around and said it was just me after a curry, but I highly doubt it. It would have just left a straight fucking alleyway just clear of trees. I know I want to go to that forest that everyone talking about in the UK. Are you on about
Yeah, I was wondering what he was talking about.
He's on about Rendlesham Forest. You're on about Rendlesham, aren't you, Eric? Watch your space. Just watch your space. You know what I'm on about, Josh. Can't say anything, but yeah, you know what I'm on about. Just watch your space.
I know. Yeah.
And I know the military just got a new handbook in Bigfoot. The handbook's about UFOs and cryptids. It's not just Bigfoot. It's about everything that all the governments of the world turned around and said, nah, it's bollocks. It's not real. Doesn't exist.
I heard that.
Yeah, we talked about it. We touched on it last week, didn't we? About police in the United States have been given a guidebook on how to deal with UFO sightings and the witnesses. And it's now gone right through the paranormal community now as a result.
I want to see a copy of it.
It won't take long before somebody puts it out on the internet.
When whoever's got
do you see how they handle crime here? They'd be like, dude, I saw a UFO. Oh, all right. Well, damn, son.
Yeah,
that's
I just seen the UFO. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm more worried about those dodgy tires on your car.
I know over here, I've seen a big cat twice with both my daughters, and we had a big black one where the tail was a big black one. Oof. The tail was twice as long as the cat itself, and it wasn't a BBC. It was definitely its tail. And it came down a bank, walked across the front of the car, stopped, looked at us, licked itself, got up, stretched, and then went up the other side. It was a little tiny narrow track lane near where my mum used to live. And it went up the other bank and through into a field. And it's in the middle of nowhere, all woods and fields and stuff. And myself and I think it was Taylor saw it, and we were like, and it was about 10 foot away from the front of the car. We went to the local police station and went, because I've got a friend who works there. He's one of the coppers. And I said to him, oh, my God, we've just seen, the Black Panther and that, because there's loads of reports about it. And he's like, oh, you lucky bugger. I've always wanted to see that. Most of the guys here have seen it. I'll write it down in the book. We know all about it. So many people have seen it. And I'm like, and that's how they deal with it. And there's another one, it was about 7 miles from where this black one was. And it was a beige. It was a beige cougar, and by a cougar I don't mean a 50-year-old woman who still thinks she's 20. There was this beige cougar that was drinking from a stream, and myself and Becky saw it. So yeah, there's lots of big cats around, There
was the Beast of Essex as well. It's been seen as far down as Basildon, up to Braintree, up to here in Colchester. This big black cat of the Beast of Essex supposedly has been reported all over the place in Essex. So it's not just secluded incidents in little places.
It's funny that you talked about that too, because that was one of the stories that's actually pretty famous around here is the Black Panther. We have tons of reportings actually by local hunters about it. I mean, we have lynxes and big cats around here naturally. So.
Well, the one thing, I think if I remember rightly, we've got leopards over here as well, but a black leopard looks the same as a black panther. But some of the reports I've read is like people walking their dogs. The one of them in particular, a person was walking their dog about 9 a.m. and I think that was Essex. I think that was Essex actually. And they heard this weird. The dog started freaking out, like proper scared, and he's like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" And then he heard this weird growling, and he was looking around. And then he looked up, and he saw a black panther that had this deer in a tree, and the only thing that drags its prey up into a tree from the big cat family is a leopard. But you get black leopards. So
Mountain lions do too.
do they? What, lionesses? They drag
Yeah.
their killer.
It's actually one of the terrifying thing about hikers. It's usually how they find them.
Oh, mountain
Yeah.
lion.
Yeah.
Mountain lions and panthers and leopards are all the same family.
Oh.
Yeah, they're all the same family. It's just, I think there's one slight genetic modification in each of them. That's all. But yeah, they put it up there to make it gamey, give it a bit of flavour.
Well, we do get the 28-day dried beef, innit? Or cured beef, whatever they call it.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with a good bit of dry beef, bit of moisture, bit of gravy on it. That'll sort it out. Isn't that right?
Covered in flies.
I've just been glared at.
Well, I mean, that's where you also get like the legends of Black Shuck in East Anglia.
Yeah, big black dog.
You know, it's because up until sort of the last 40, 50 years, it's kept out of the way. But the more of its environment gets destroyed or it gets built on, it's going to start coming inland like urban foxes do. You know, we destroy their natural habitat. They're gonna evolve in a way to come into urban areas and start rummaging through your bins, through your back gardens, killing your pets because they've wandered too far out. You know, it's because nowadays, like we've been saying before, the way we can record these things now has become so easy that people are spotting them quicker.
Yeah. Well, it's like all the tales about, when we've talked about cryptos before, when you talk about Orang Pendek, orangutan means man of the forest, and Orang Pendek means small man. And there's been more and more sightings of these, and there's been more, yourselves for all the paranormal stuff. There's more and more sightings of cryptids in general, especially like little people, fey people. I would say dwarves, but I mean like pixie type things. I don't mean really angry, pissed off guys with beards and a bottle of cider. I mean, like pixies, elves, and all that sort of thing. There's been more and more reports of these things, and it's always around where, as you've said, habitats are being encroached on and buildings are going up and all this sort of the other, and especially like Germany, around the forested regions, Russia, the steppes of Russia, South America. Lots and lots of it, and up here where we've got like vast swathes of York, especially Yorkshire, isn't it? Where we are, there's vast areas of woodlands, forests, and fields, but you've got more and more new builds that are going up, and this stuff's being taken down. Where I am is in the Wolds Triangle, and funny enough, we're going to have a dogman hunter from the UK on here in a couple of weeks. So that lives with you, Josh. And he knows all about the Wolds Triangle, but there's so many legends and stuff and sightings around here. And now we've got lots of new build estates being put up here, and the sightings are going of these things. And there's been some sheep around, well, not in Scarborough itself, but sheep on the outlying areas that have been found with their throats ripped to bits. There was a deer leg found, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Somewhere near here, somebody found a deer leg that had been ripped off a deer, and it was up on people reporting it.
Do you know where the tech is?
Yeah.
We used to go and
Yeah.
up that road.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, in Scarborough itself, in one of the sort of like woody bits. So Raincliffe Woods, yeah. So it's getting closer and closer to the towns, and it's because of we're encroaching on their home, and that's why. What do you make of? Because you know all about dogman stuff, ain't you, Josh? Because you're into the cryptids. Wayne and I know about cryptids. I was going to say, Wayne and I know about really hairy beasts because we've been married twice. So, cryptids and stuff like that. So like you know about hairy beasts, don't you? You're saying nothing. That's not about me. Do you think that dogmen and werewolves are the same or different? And do you think that dogmen can revert to human form, or do you think they're like that all the time?
I'd probably go with the werewolves because you would see them more often. I don't know. There's not one case is the same. and then there's a whole like paranormal element to them too. So who knows?
See, I've read a lot of reports. I mean, mainly in America, where you get groups of dogmen, werewolves, whatever you want, and actually no, daytime it'd be dogmen. Like there's one in particular where there was a family in the house and they attacked the house and they did it all day, and the guy told his family to get in and hid in the house and then waited until they'd gone away the next day, and he went and had a look and there was all the scratches and stuff up on the veranda and everything where they've been trying to get in the windows and stuff. So that shows me there's an intelligence there.
Well, I never said they weren't intelligent. I mean, I just said I don't think there's these big beast men that just stay beast men forever living in the woods. I think there's probably more or less like a werewolf element to it. Not every case is the same, I was saying too. There are some that base in and out of reality in front of people. Then you start getting into them cases and they're like, yeah, it's actually kind of a common occurrence with them.
What, they can just...
Yeah.
Maybe they're from, and this is a really wild theory, but possibly they could be from a next door dimension, and this is their hunting ground.
It's possible. It's possible.
You know, there is the legends that things like vampires and werewolves and stuff were made by the Anunnaki as our overseers and our protectors, and they kept us in line. And that since the Anunnaki have gone, we've taken over, and the habitats that they knew that their vision was developed for was all gone. And that's why they're just hardly ever seen, and they you know, all this, that, and the other goes on. Because there's been reports of through the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, a place near here where every now and again a body would be found ripped to bits, and I mean ripped to bits. And when the police went there, they were just saying, "Oh, it's a mannequin. It's a mannequin that's been found." But this was happening for every single one that's been found.
I mean, whatever it is, I mean, if they are around, they clearly have a network of society set up for themselves where they are. And same with, I'd say, with vampires.
What do you two reckon in respect of, you know, that they found these voids under the earth now that have got seas, freshwater seas in them, forests and all this stuff, and they've got the seismograph proof. Do you think that a lot of these sightings that we've been having of, I won't say all, but certain cryptids, do you reckon that they come from down there and they've just evolved different?
Nah. I imagine there's a whole other world down there, but
I'd like to have a look.
we've been talking about them since the beginning of time. You know?
Well, there's a school of thought that it's reptilian down there, isn't it? And that their technology is way ahead of ours.
Well, we talked about them since the beginning of time too.
And that they want nothing to do with us on the surface, and quite frankly, I don't blame them.
The thing is, if
What are
there
you talking
is,
about? They run politics. Haven't you seen Wall Street?
if there is,
That's a
if there
Leather
is,
Club.
if there is a realm under the Earth's crust, as it stands, without an advancement in technology, they would be nocturnal.
Well, when you look at things like Admiral Byrd's report and stuff, he said that when he went down there, they had their own source of light.
But that was in Antarctica.
Yeah.
But we're talking about other places, not necessarily Antarctica, but in other places. If there are entrances to subterranean realms, just the same as we've got the continents where we can go from, say, here to United States. If there is, say, an underground realm here in the UK, you know, what the chances are they're going to be reptilians still? They might not be. They might be just all the animals that are nocturnal, where they've been pushed out their natural habitat, have ended up down there, and evolution has just taken over.
There is that, but also my thing is, because the scientific papers have said that there's forests and trees and all sorts of things down there, where they're getting the sunlight to photosynthesize.
Exactly.
So I know you can get bioluminescent plants, and you can get bioluminescent mushrooms, and by that I don't mean the ones you put on toast and go, "Oh, dude." Can you see? They must have some sort of artificial light down there.
Well,
Or
this is
such
the
a
thing,
sun.
isn't it? There's got to be some form of ultraviolet light down there.
Who's to say it's artificial?
Well, this is the thing. This is, if there
Or
are trees down there.
what about the core too? I mean, our core is supposed to be so hot, almost like the same heat as the sun.
Like the sun.
What if that's producing light?
I would have thought it would do. Do you reckon they've advanced enough they're able to channel that light? Maybe they're watching us
I
now.
don't know if we keep alluding. I bet you we'll find out one day.
Well, I think there's a lot more to be found, and I think my own personal thing is I think when, in fact, I'm sure we were talking about this a while back. When NASA was just the sea, and then they found something and went, "Fuck this, we're going to explore space." You've got all the stories about the Marianas Trench, the layer that's underneath that we can't get below, but there's something underneath, and they reckon there's these massive gates that have been found down below, and divers have gone down there, and submersibles, and this, that, and the other. And there's lots of stories to do with this. Some I think are crackpot stuff, but some of them seem quite plausible. What do you reckon?
I don't
I don't
trust
believe it.
NASA
I personally don't believe it.
I don't think there's a gate, but
I don't think anybody's gone down there.
I honestly think it's just a big fucking cover up for my government to piss away money.
I don't think anybody's. I don't
I
think anybody's
honestly
been down
do.
there. It's just a rumor.
I've seen.
I'll even go as far and say I sometimes wonder if the 80s Cold War was us and Russia just building shit for space and lying to everybody. I honestly wonder that all the time. I mean, yeah, it kind of sounds crazy, but like, all of a sudden we have this space force and there's all these bases and it's like,
Yeah.
all these billions of dollars that just went to make nukes. Maybe we weren't making nukes. Maybe they both knew something was going on and were like, we'll just lie to the world and just piss away all this money and build this stuff up.
I sent you a message. Was it yesterday or the day before of that object found in space?
Yeah.
And it wasn't the International Space Station, was it?
No, it wasn't the International Space Station. I personally believe when we spoke about this on the show 3 years ago, and we said it was starting to ramp up, that the government of the world would do they don't exist, they do exist, they don't exist, they do exist, they don't exist. Oh yeah, we've been talking to them. And I think we're slowly being drip fed all of this, and it's going to get to the point because they know they've gone too far. They must know we're not idiots. We know what's going on. We know it's there, and it's got to that point now where they've gone beyond you can fool all of the people some of the time.
But then you get these people that come forth and like say shit. Like on TikTok, I'm sure you guys heard over this weekend we were supposed to have this big UFO sighting. It was supposed to be seen all over the world. Nothing happened.
Well, that's like the TikTok time travelers.
This is a little different. I mean, there's been a couple of TikTok time travelers that gained momentum. This was so many creators were jumping on this bandwagon this weekend, and we're like, "There's going to be a mass sighting." I started getting a little bit worried because I was like, "Oh no, Project Blue Book is really going to happen. It's really going to do it. They're going to blow it up just like in Planet of the Apes."
Well, it's supposed to be 2024. 2024, 2025, and 2027 are supposed to be.
Yeah, well, they keep been saying that. They've been saying that since 1998. It's going to be 2000. It's going to be 2005. It's going to be 2010. It's going to be 2015. It's going to be 2023. It's going to be 2024.
Well, you lot might have Trump in again, so you never know. He said he was going to bring out the truth about UFOs, apparently. Idiot, yeah, but you never know. He might do. I mean, he's got to be better than that fucking idiot.
Hey, he's the one that brought up the Space Force the first time around. I mean,
He doesn't do a lot for the UFO world, though, does he? Really? Let's be honest.
Who?
Trump.
Well, Trump said if he last time he was in power, he tried to get the truth sold about UFOs, and he was stomped on. And he said that this time, if he gets back in, he will make damn sure it's done.
Yeah, but we want someone who looks like they've got an iota of intelligence to bring up the UFOs.
This is very true. 2025. I wonder if this Christmas we have the star. We will have the star, and a little baby will be there going, "What is aliens?" So
you're getting mixed up with the Christmas Star episode of Doctor Who.
Right.
That's what it is.
I mean, there's still contactees happening. There's still contacts happening with people. It's not like they're not around. There's still evidence going on. I believe if anything, they're probably done trying to contact our governments, the ones that aren't working with our government.
I mean, going back to the Mariana Trench thing.
Yeah.
I would say no one's been down there. Simple reason being is look at the issues they have just getting a submersible down to the Titanic. Now, the Titanic is 3,800 meters down. The Mariana Trench is 11,034 meters down.
Well, I've seen a thing where they reckon they got to the bottom of it and took some photos, but
with a robot.
Yeah. But my only issue with that was there was creatures down there. Now you would have thought the pressure, even if you're specially evolved, fucking hell, you know. But they do think that once you got through this layer, there's things down there. We Cthulhu and stuff like that. There's things down there we couldn't even comprehend.
But the pressure at that depth, you wouldn't be able to send a human being down there.
No, you wouldn't. But
City of
eh?
I was going to say the city of, what was it, Relay? Cthulhu City.
Right.
Yeah,
I really hope that
at the bottom of the ocean.
Really do, because that's
There's your Atlantis. It's being guarded by Cthulhu.
Well,
you're looking to love. You need to look more to Lovecraft to find these answers.
some of the I read up on the whistleblowers and stuff, and I go a hunting and a searching down rabbit holes. Some of the rabbit holes I've found have spoken about a special team that was sent down, and they went into this cave and went into another cave, and then they went into a massive cave in this special sub. And all of a sudden, when they were looking for whatever the hell they were looking for, and then an eye that was bigger than a sub just opened up and looked at them, and they went, "No!" and then buggered off. And they tried to block the entrance or whatever and stop sending.
This is sounding a lot like 1,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
It is. But
have they or have they not talked about giant squid and giant octopus throughout history?
And then they found them.
Yeah. But this eye was
a
quite
fiction
bigger.
story.
According to this, the eye was bigger than our house anyway.
Sorry, it just reminded me of it.
What was that?
Well, I said they've talked about things like giant squid have been mentioned throughout history, and then it goes Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes, Pirates of the Caribbean's real.
I just heard a church bell ring and some tumbleweeds just run right through the middle of this kitchen.
I know it's not real. I know it's fiction. I'm just saying, you said giant squid, it just reminded me of Pirates of the Caribbean.
The goddess Rio was based on a real goddess.
And Johnny Depp's the one that killed it.
Yeah. Jar of dirt. Oh dear. Anyway, Bimini Road and all that sort of stuff, and out of place artifacts. We've done it again. We've done what we're known for. We start off talking about something, and then we've gone fuck off and talked about lots of other things, and then come back again. So Bimini Road, what do you reckon it was?
A road.
You're a twat. What do you reckon was it to do with?
Moving stuff, would be my guess.
You know what? Sometimes
like a road.
Do you reckon there was a city down there, or that was the remains of a city?
Yeah, that's not real.
I don't know, because although it's called the Bimini Road, it's also called the Bimini Wall.
Yeah, that's right. And there's no straight line in nature.
And they've proven that those rocks have been placed there not by nature, but somebody or something has placed those rocks there because of the formation of the rocks and how they've been put together.
Right.
I'm just looking
So-
to see what that place in Japan
And then,
is called. There's all these things everywhere. There's lots of evidence of all these massive roads, buildings. And I'm sorry, but I think it's obvious that there were civilizations before us. I do think.
I think so too. But I mean, I don't know about the whole road thing. Wasn't this like a thing that the Romans were known doing when they take over a place to build these massive roads?
That's it. That's a Bimini Road. Yeah. And you've got, hang on, Yonaguni. Hang on, see if I can do it. You see that?
Yep.
That's part of the Yonaguni monument in Japan. That's what I was on about. And it's got big steps, like it's like a staircase, and there's bits of roads and all sorts of things there. I'm telling you now. Look at it. There's no way that is a natural formation. You seen it?
I mean, it's not, because when you look at it, the bricks or the rocks are being placed down in a perfect straight line, and nothing is growing up or over those rocks.
Yeah.
You've got a little bit of growth coming up on the rocks themselves, but the main bit where all the sea urchins and all the other creatures are stopping a set distance away from those rocks.
Yeah.
So it's kept that pathway right the way along, and that's something like 0.8 kilometers long. That's not a small feature. That's quite a significant size.
But I guess I'm not understanding why are we thinking it could be an advanced civilization and not just left behind by the Romans?
Because I'm going along the thing of Lemuria and Mu, the continents that were there, because of all the stuff that's been found in off of Australia and things. Very similar stuff that's been found. Japan and plus Bermuda. You've got the Black Pyramid, and you've got the same sort of structures underneath. And there's a city down there as well that they haven't explored yet, but there is a city down there. So what I'm wondering is, when you had these different continents and then the tectonic plates shifted and these continents went down, it's obviously taking these with them. I think some could be just ancient cities, but I think something else there because of the massive steps.
Yeah, I think at one point the Bimini Road connected Bimini and the Bahamas to mainland Florida.
Well, Bermuda's out that way as well.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. I reckon they were all interlinked, and the Bimini Road was used to connect all of them together.
Well, look at I think
Florida Keys.
Yeah, is it Turkey or somewhere where they found footprints and cart tracks from two wheels that are something like 500,000 years old, and they're fossilized, and we're only supposed to be something like 40,000 years old. So where the hell did all this stuff come from? You know, and again, if you look back into all the legends and read up on it, like the Gilgamesh and the Sumerians and the Babylonians and stuff like that, when they talk about when we were made or woken up by having their DNA put in us, that was about 500,000 years ago when they first came down here and started doing stuff like that. So, you know, and explain like the 1.5 million year old depleted uranium and the remains of a hypercourse that's 750,000 years old that go from a hot stream. You know, there were either they're lying about our evolution and how old we actually were or are, or there was civilizations before us. Personally, I think there were civilizations before us because the Earth has a reset every few thousand years, doesn't it? But
I think we're the hybrid of two different civilizations that went to war with each other.
that would make a lot of sense, and that's where you get the angels and demons from.
Well, that's why Mars is the way it is too. Why there's irradiated parts of the world.
Well, exactly what because we were talking about this last week, weren't we, Mars? The same thing on Mars, where you've got evidence of thermonuclear strikes. You've got that in Asia and India and all that sort of area, and there's evidence of thermonuclear strikes and airburst strikes that are nearly 1 million years old, between 500,000 and 1 million years old. We didn't have that technology then. We weren't supposed to be around then. Obviously, we were, or somebody was. So, is this war what's written down in every single religious text, as we've spoken about before? Is this war that happened here and happened on Mars roughly around the same time? Was it whoever lived on Mars and whoever lived on here? We had a scrap. We, as Josh has said, we're the remains of these hybridization. And because this scrap was going on for a long time, we evolved, and then we viewed them as angels and demons. The angels came from Mars, the demons came from here, and they were scrapping. But because we didn't understand, we just saw these things with technology that we couldn't even fathom, and we were like, they're gods. The same as if you look at the Anunnaki, exactly the same thing happened in their legends. They had a scrap, you know, and that's where you get angels and demons from. Could it be that? It's food for thought, isn't it?
It is. I've pointed this out to my children when we've talked about it. But, you know, if you go back through history, as far as modern history is concerned, we've all been told in our individual religions to worship only one God. But it got to some point where that began.
Yeah.
And when you look at Ra turning around and saying you will worship only one God, then
That's
you've
right.
got the Greeks, the Romans, you know, the pagans, Vikings. They all worshipped a number of gods, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's just one God.
Well, it was it Ra or hang on, I'm trying to think which one it was.
It was Ra and Akhenaten, wasn't it?
Akhenaten. It was Akhenaten who said, because the Aten is the sun disk. It was Akhenaten who said, "You will only worship me," and he went around trying to just get rid of the old gods and destroy everything. And then when he got wiped out, they brought the old gods back. But that's where the monotheism comes from. And I don't hold with monotheism anyway. I hold with there were lots of gods. But I do think that the gods.
Well, there's also elements of like the Crusades you got to add into all that too. I mean, there was different groups of different religions coming together to defeat somebody else, and then they're all like, "Well, shit, all these people are going to live here and here and here, so now we need to decide. Otherwise, nobody's going to follow a hierarchy, and nobody's going to get anything done." So, I mean, a lot of it's
the
that
thing
way
is,
when you're looking at it.
the religion has got a lot to answer for, because at the end of the day, religion causes wars. It's greedy, and religious wars are always my big invisible sky being is better than your big invisible sky being. The Crusades, we went and battered the what religion was it? The Muslim faith, and said, "You will believe us." And now we got the Muslim faith going, "Fuck you, believe us." And at the end of the day,
It wasn't just that. It was more or less, why are there Muslims in the city of the king, sort of thing. We should have control. We're the Christians. We should have control of the city of Jerusalem. And
I know, but
it was honestly, it was all just land. It was bullshit tactics, kind of like how we use today for politics.
Yeah, exactly. But it's all religion always has wars over crap. And they start wars over crap. And it always, no matter what the real play of the war is, they'll always bring it down to my God's better than your God. And when you look back in antiquity and look back through all the ancient scrolls, especially the Emerald Scrolls, it says, no, the gods were us. We came from there. We came down. We helped you. We put our DNA in you. We did all this stuff, and we built cities out of mud and all this stuff. But we've pissed off our higher up. And you know, the Anunnaki, and all Anunnaki means is people from space. Just that's all it means. It's not a term for gods or anything. Just means the people from out there, people from space. When you look at all that lot, they talk about how if their higher up being knew what they were doing here on this planet and knew that they were being worshipped as false gods, they were going to be in a lot of shit. You know, and then when they went back to the Pleiadian system and things like that, they think that the whole reason they've not come back for a long time is because they got in a lot of trouble.
Do you think that? I don't think that. I don't honestly believe. I don't
No,
think
that's
that.
what's written down in
The
the text.
Anunnaki.
I don't believe it myself.
Oh, I was gonna say I've never heard that before. With the Anunnaki and the Pleiadians like crossing over. I have to look into that.
The trouble is when you go down rabbit holes and look at stuff, so many different theories and facts and
Right.
figures, and this, that, and the other come out. Like the ones that the Anunnaki were originally a remnant race, a refugee race, the same as the storyline from Mass Effect. They were fleeing from war and they went from planet to planet to planet and were being followed by the reptilians. You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where these like things cross over, and it's like some authors not realize we all own TVs.
Yeah, exactly. And when you really look at V, when you look at the TV series V, the original TV series, absolutely awesome TV series. First time Robert Englund ever made a TV appearance. But they were reptilians who used to eat guinea pigs, but they were reptilians. And I don't mean South American guinea pigs either. And they used to go and open their throats and swallow the guinea pigs. But they were reptilians in disguise who wanted to take over our planet. And when you look at all the old stuff, it's always been big sky beings who've come out of nowhere to tell us what to do and to look after us. So, so I'm just going back in the chat to have a look. A snake with horns on its head. Greetings from Ansonia, Connecticut. Hiya. When you look at different religions and you look at some of the things they had, like golems in the Jewish faith, golems were made out of clay and they had a chem put in their head to make them move and talk in this area. And the chem was just the word of God written down and put in their head. But to me, that sounds like binary code put inside a machine. Could that be something completely different? And most religions have got some sort of automaton that they talk about and that they use. And it was the same sort of thing. They had something put inside them to make them come to life and work. To me, that sounds like a robot, a shell, and they've put like coding in, or they've put a disk in or something in to make it come up and start doing its job. You know? And they're the same with all their flying machines. All their flying machines, the way they describe it and stuff, sounds like rockets. Or ships, anyway.
Right, chariots of fire.
Yeah. Well, the Aztecs, in Quetzalcoatl, when they talk about Quetzalcoatl, the fire serpent, Quetzalcoatl, there's quite a few stories of Quetzalcoatl coming down, and when they said Quetzalcoatl came down, it landed. It didn't go. Whoo, it came out. There's flames coming out the back of it, and it landed, and people got out of it. So it makes you think that we have been visited so many times, and it's all been covered up. But the Bobermans know, and the papacy know, because down in their vaults is proof of it. They're supposed to have alien skeletons down there as well, aren't they?
But get quickly removed.
Yeah. We'll never really know.
We don't want anybody else seeing them. We don't want anybody else finding them and speculating what's down here. So let's get them out of the way. So if anybody does come down, they can't see them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the Paris catacombs. You've got levels of Paris catacombs that people will not go down simply because if they go down there, they ain't coming back out again. They go so deep and they're so vast, you'd never find your way out if you got too far down.
Was it LA where there's supposed to be another city, thousands of years old, underneath, and a guy in the 50s made his own version of LiDAR that was capable of finding voids underneath, and he found this city?
Yeah, it was LA. The same thing too with like the welding machine was built somewhere around LA too. And the dudes at first were like the first welders were like, we can hear people talking underneath our feet.
That's right.
They don't sound like us. And like everybody was like, they're crazy. And they're like, no, there's lizard people living beneath our feet. We hear them talking every time we're working on your bridge.
And the same with those are being found all over the world now, aren't they? There was a 1, 2, I think it was either 3 or 5 story city found in Turkey. There's various different places being found, and there's again, it's all out of place stuff that's not supposed to be there. Why is it there? Who made it? You know. So, and I've just seen the time, so we better stop. What should we talk about next week?
Big paranormal event that happens this week.
All right, you want to talk about the paranormal events that happen in the week, yeah?
Yeah.
I can talk
If
about a
anything.
paranormal event that's going to happen on Saturday night.
Well, there we go.
You're doing a paranormal event on Saturday night, aren't you?
Yes, we are. Spookanori
Give it
Events is going to be doing their first public investigation over at Beacon Hill Fort on Saturday night. So we are going to be doing some filming and quite possibly might do a live stream. Depends on how we go. So we're looking forward to it.
Okay, good luck with that, mate. Josh, you got anything coming up?
I do. I actually was supposed to have 3 interviews this week. We had a no-show today. Tomorrow I have an interview with Dennis Carroll, who's an author. He's also a demonologist and a paranormal investigator. So we'll dive into that. And then on Wednesday, I'm having my buddy Earl Grayback, who is the California's MUFON director.
Okay, nice one.
We'll be discussing, the events here in the U.S. that have happened over the past year with ufology.
Well, if you're seeing the MUFON thing, you can put in a good word for us because I've been trying to join MUFON for ages.
There's a bit of a process. And I think that you
I
got to pay here and do it there. And, yeah.
Well, I was getting a bit jaded with MUFON, especially the European version of it, because it looked to me like they were being scripted as to what to say and things. It changed. Things changed from what they normally came out with to a set thing, and I was like,
Our main investigator, Wisconsin, lives in Vegas, and that's kind of a big pet peeve I have.
That's a bit of a trek.
Yeah, and he covers more than one state too. I'm like, I could do that.
Oh dear. All right, well, nice one. Thank you everybody else for joining us on our first ever one on this platform. And
Follow the page.
we will be going
Right now,
on.
go right when we end. Go to the page and like it so we can go live there.
Go to the Dark Mirror Radio Show Facebook page because we've got X amount of followers now, but we have to be going for a certain amount of time and have a certain amount of likes. Go there, like the page, and then we can start streaming there. All right, but this is the first one we've done on this platform. Seems to be working all right. Josh,
Yeah, we had one person say trying to get on your new Dark Mirror link for a while. Nothing is coming up on the page.
it's on there.
I've just been on there and it's there. So
Yeah, it is on there. So
sorry, Von, it's there.
no, it's definitely on there. And it's on the YouTube as well at the moment as we speak. So, yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Everybody out there who's been watching us and everything, you too, as per usual, a pleasure. And we will talk about the paranormal next week. And the paranormal is everything, including my lack of hair, Wayne's fact that he has all this hair, Josh, the fact he's got all this hair and I'm jealous because he's a bastard. And that's just paranormal. And we will talk about it next week. So thank you for joining us. And remember, if you see anything, you can always message us on either of our Facebook pages or groups, or message us personally, or you can go to www.thedarkmirror.com, .co.uk, or just email us at the Dark Mirror Radio Show at yahoo.co.uk. Or just send us a message. Keep your eyes to the sky. I'm out of here. I'm talking too much. Bye-bye, everybody.
Doodles.
Later.
Bye.